welcome to Conquering Mount Scrap with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and today we're going to start Worldly Wednesday. Now, Worldly Wednesday is we're going to make a trip around the world a little bit different than everybody else's does. But I'm going to show you how to do a trip around the world on partial seams and using darks, mediums, and lights. Now, I've cut a bunch of squares here. I'm not going to use all of these today, but we are going to throw in piece blocks in our Worldly Wednesday, so we get rid of those little scraps that hang out in our sewing room and our scrap bins. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with this. Now, I have picked blue because I am overrun with blue scraps, and I have to do something with them because they're just breeding. They're breeding, and it's getting kind of out of hand. So I have to do something with this. But you can use any dark, any light, any medium. So any medium color that you want, like if you want to do like rainbows of mediums and rainbows of darks, you know, you certainly can. That would look really cool, by the way. Now, let's get to our shout outs. I've got kind of two shout outs for you. Well, one's not a shout out, one's more of an announcement. So yeah, brothers out of Vegas and their YouTube channel, they're doing a charity quilt drive. Now, we're filming this beginning of June. Now, their drive starts June 15th and it runs to August 15th. And they're collecting finished quilts so they can donate to charity up in Alaska. Now, go to their channel to get more information. And I put that link in the show notes below. That is an important thing. If you want to get involved in making charity quilts, this was such a big fun event last year. Everybody who participated had a great time, and they did over 300 quilts. So go get more information from them. Okay, so I'm in Canada. It would cost an arm and a leg for postage, and the person who gets it, because it's going to the US, has to pay customer duty or whatever, and that to me doesn't make sense. So, but anyways, yeah, if you're interested in this, do get a hold of the So Yeah Brothers. Their links in the show notes below. Now, our shout out today is Jess at So Blessed by Jess. It's a new mouth. I just installed it today. And her channel is just starting out. She probably needs some words of encouragement, love. And when you go check her out and you hit that subscribe button for her, tell her that Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you. It looks like a very interesting little channel. Also in the show notes below, you're going to find Zoom sew dates from now until the end of December. We're making that commitment to you from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I have so much fun on those sew dates, and so do the ladies that come, and we all get lots done, and we're all talking and showing what we're working on and having a good time. That the day goes poof, and it's 5 o'clock, and it's like, oh wow. The other thing that's in the show notes is our Facebook group. It's a warm, welcoming group. We have lots of different community chats. There's all sorts of fabric swaps by country. They're doing recipe exchanges, you know, finding free patterns. They have a chat just for that where people go find free patterns and they post the link. They do all sorts of fun stuff. And it's a really great way to get to know people. Now, we do have a virtual sewing room in Discord for the Facebook group members that's open 24/7. So if you're interested in that kind of thing and you're part of the Facebook community, you should give that a try. I also speak for free to quilt girl guilds and groups, and we are so if your guild or group is looking for somebody who talks about charity quilts and using your scraps, you know, think of me and put my name forward. I do it over Zoom, and I have a PowerPoint presentation. So let's get to this Worldly Wednesday. The first block is going to be the very hardest block you're going to do in this entire quilt, but it's worth it. It's a lot of fun. So come on in, let's get this sewing started. Okay, I guarantee you this is going to be the hardest block in this entire quilt, or this twin size quilt. Now, this is called, this is my design, Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. So the first thing we're going to do is I already did my tracing wheel trick on this, which was kind of important to do. And we're just going to trim off the extra paper that we don't need on this. But, like I say, a little bit, like you got one block of foundation paper piecing, it's okay. You can manage that. So we're gonna just cut this apart like so, and like so. Like it's one of these fun blocks. So A1, okay, so I have got a little bit of tools for my A1. So I know it's way big. It's way bigger than I need, but that's okay. I'm just going to take a pin and pin it down in place. Okay, so I'm going to my low volumes and my mediums and my darks off of here. And I'm going to take all of this off because I no longer need it. I was carrying it all around here today going, wow, there's so much stuff. Okay, so these are round pieces I found in my crumb bin. So I decided, okay, we're going to use them today for sure. Now, I'm just going to take this and take this off like so. I bet you that would fit, wouldn't it? Nope, it doesn't. Oh well, that's okay. So I'm going to just trim this, and I'm going to trim the other side too. Just because I can. I love foundation paper piecing, and it's one of those wonderful things that you can do. Always have tape handy, just in case things go awry. That's important to have. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim off a squared off bit on two of these, and there, just square off a bit here. Not much of a bit, maybe that. I'm going to throw that back into my scraps because that's a fairly big crumb. So this is white on white. I don't know if you can see this white on white. If you're having problems telling which side is right, black light, right? The old black lights from the 70s are perfect. The black light from the 70s will show you exactly which side you should be working on. Right, because it'll have all of the colors, or it'll look much whiter, much brighter. Kind of a weird trick, but it works. Okay, now get this, and now for these ones I have something different again. I have a medium blue that I really love. And I'm just going to, I want the straight of grain to be like here, right? So I'm going to push this down and over, just like that. Because whatever gets cut off, I mean, I'm going to save, so. Because it's my crumb bin that I took these from. Actually, this is one of these crazy 5-inch squares. That's not a 5-inch square. So I get tired of all these 5-inch square things too hanging around my. I put them all in my crumb bin because they're about hand size. And I figure, okay, as I come across a use for them, I'm going to use them. It'll be fine. Okay, I just use mine. Okay, and I'm going to put the darker color up near the front, the top. So there. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off this part right here, because that part, that's big. I can put that right back into my crumb bin without too much hassle. And I just used my piece of white fabric, didn't I? Oh dear. Okay. Well, that's okay. Get another two. And I'm looking for is threads, which way the threads are going. And then just trimming off a piece that's perpendicular so I have a good square edge to work with. Okay, now I'm going to pop this up over, and there. That's the good side. Put that down. Yes. This is one that I think would be really good for if you had lots of little odd, weird shaped scraps. This is a perfect one. And with this, we're now done. With this last seam, we're now done. Okay. There we go. There. And with that, we're done. We're done the foundation paper piecing part of this. So now it's just a matter of trimming them and working with them, right? So I'm going to finger press this out this way. Now, right off the hop, I'm going to take this. I'm going to make this much smaller so that I can work with what I've got. So, okay. So I'm going to lay my 1/4 inch. I need, you know what? I need a ruler. Okay, I'm going to cut. I'm going to trim all 3 of these pieces together after I give them a quick iron, and then I'll be right back. Okay, just to show you how I do this, I line up my 1/4 inch along the inside line, right? So, I mean, if my pattern's a little off, at least the pieces will all fit together, right? So there I make my cuts, you know, I put all my stuff that I'm going to throw back into my bins to the side. And now I take this all apart, or take this. Before I do any stay stitching or anything like that, what I do is I lay this out, and have I got something that looks cohesive, right? I mean, does it look okay? Yes, it does. It looks pretty good, I think. It's a 4.5 inch square. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change feet, because I'm going to need my 1/4 inch foot on. Now I just bought my 1/4 inch foot here. It has a little plow on the side, and it's shaped like that from the front, and it works really quite well, and I get a good 1/4 inch off of it. Some people say you shouldn't be using a 1/4 inch foot, you should be using a scant 1/4, but that's okay too. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run down. I'm going to put A and B together. This is A and this is B. So I'm going to put A and B together. The first thing I'm going to do is go right in the corner here, right, and come out the other side. And then I'm going to find the point on A, and that's my first pin. That's where I'm going to lay my first pin. The second pin now comes up and over. Now this pin, I do just B first, because that's my smaller piece. I'm putting my smaller piece onto my bigger piece, and I flip it over and I find that corner on A. Oops, I missed it. Well, I missed most of it. Some of it I missed. Okay, there it is. So I'm right in the corner on both of them. So I just make sure everything is lining up and my pins are perpendicular to the work, and I pin this right here in the center-ish, because as I'm pulling my pins I might lose my center. So now I'm going to run this under very quickly. There we go. Now as I'm coming up on that middle pin, I pull it so that my needle slips past the point. Then I go right up to the end, or as close to the end as I can. And there we go. Now I'm going to do the other side. Like I say, I find these are much easier to do if you do a bunch of them. But, you know, but this is our hardest block. You only need one of these for the entire block, and it's a middle. Okay, so then we go do the same thing on the other side. We put C and A together, and we put that pin, and you can kind of feel it too, because oops, I outlined the outer edge of the block with my my wheel, my tracing wheel, and then you want to go here and here. Okay, right there. Oops. Oh, okay. There we go. Just about lost that. Okay, so now you've got it. Everything is lying perpendicular. Everything's good. You know, like the pins are in the right spot. Just pin this in place. Everything's being held in place now perfectly. And now there we go. And cut off my little tag. Okay, so this is what that looks like, right? Once it's open, right? So that looks like pretty good. Now you could do stay stitching around the outside edge, which I think I'm going to. And I'm just going to put it just in the very outer edge within the seam allowance. I know it makes it harder to pull off, but it does pull off. And it keeps your block from distorting. And everything's lying the right way, so it's good. It's all good. I'll put that down. Up. There we go. Now, if you didn't want to do this walk for this Worldly Wednesday, you could substitute any 4.5 inch unfinished block, because that's what we're working with, unfinished block. Okay, so now, I'll get this out of the way. And now we start working on the trip. Okay, get this past here. There we go. Now, so what happens when you're doing a trip around the world? Usually you have to lay out a whole whack of stuff, right? Well, with this, I didn't want us laying out hordes and hordes of stuff. I don't want to white on white. I don't want to put the white on whites on the bottom. Okay, so we just lie out one at a time, and we can get crazy and colorful. Yes, this is a low volume, but it's really, really wild low volume. And you just keep, you know, like kind of offsetting them so that we can see what we're doing here. You put one of these there and one of these. Oh, let's go a little lighter. Let's go a little lighter for this round. There we go. So I've got some Cancer ribbon fabric. So what I'm doing is I'm creating now this outer row. Now mediums go next. Now I have a bunch of mediums here cut, and they go around the quilt pretty much the same way they would go, you know, in any direction you want. Right, I've got some pretty wild stuff going on in here, and I've got some paler stuff, but that's, you know, a low volume or a medium. Oh, I gotta move all this out of the way. This is gonna get too big very quickly. So what we're doing here is we're trying to create like a pieced and a light or low volume, a medium, and then a dark ring, and then back to medium, because you want to get those mediums out of your stash, right? So we're just picking one at a time. Okay, so I might have to push some of these towards each other. Ugh. And then now the darks, right, are going to come in next, and they're going to be fairly dark. I want them fairly dark. So the darks are going to come in next. You're like, oh my gosh, this was a lot of fun to think of, right? So the darks are going to come in next, and I want something really dark. I should get something a little darker for that one, because that one needs a little bit of dark. This dark will go better over here. So you kind of have to play with this a bit too, right? Because you want something that's got contrast as well. Right now, this one would go next over there. And we got some Care Bear stuff going on. That's fun. It's just fun. That's all we want is fun. And we got a little plaid fun thing coming in. And brighter dark. Oh, we could put this. Let's put this in there instead. That's better. That's better. Okay, so there's our first dark round that we're going to do. I just put this to the side. Now we go back to our mediums. Now our mediums are going to be, you know, a little more low key. I'm going to put that plain one there, put a brighter one here. That's where you start playing around. Now, if you're doing this with all of the colors in your stash, good for you. That is going to be so much fun. You can do a ring of yellow, you can do a ring of blue, you know, green, whatever you want to do now, right? Because you're looking at this kind of like very simple, very easy, you know, easy to do. So now, okay. So now you've got these going on, right, like this, okay? Your next one is going to be a low volume, right? So we're going to put you at the bottom and get more low volumes out. And I want something bright for this low volume. I wanted to use up this kind of fun stuff here, you know, that we don't get to pull out of our stash, right, very often. And, you know, put some brighter florals in. Don't forget to put in your creamy colors too. You know, get those out playing. And we're all going to assemble this by partial seams. Partial seams are our friend right for this, right? There. So now I've got this kind of done the way I want. So this is where we stop, because once you hit the light ring, the light ring, you have to do another piece ring, and that's for next Wednesday. So what you're going to do is you've got a few of these that are, you know, put this way. Now, what's the easiest way to do this is you would go, all of this is going to sew together in one long row, right? But the top three are this, and then the next three, wait a minute, we're missing some. Hang on, I forgot to put some of these in. Oops, they go to the bottom. Oh yeah, these, oh yeah, this goes to the bottom. Sorry, we missed something. Yes, we knew we would. So as you're going around, you've got to get more of this in. So you've got a light, you'll see what I mean in a second here. You've got to have your lights. Well, I'll show you what I mean. We missed a row and I'll show you how to correct it, because you're going to probably do the same kind of thing. So we've got this from light, medium, dark, medium, light, right? That's the way we're going to go across all of this, right? So let's get that sewn together, and it'd be a little easier to see, because then maybe it won't be so crowded on here. So we want to put these together, and you can put any arrangement together that you like, that you think will work. There we go. And we put these two together. It's a nice, cute, dark. Yeah, I pulled out my Quilt cutter that I got from my friend. And I was like, ooh, yes, let's do this. Now I said we're going to assemble this by partial seams, which is true. Right? We are going to do this by partial seams. Okay. There. There we go. And every week or every Wednesday, then we're going to get to the next row or the next rounds. And you're going to have quite a few rounds that are just, you know, like, you're going to have, like, you're always going to have the light, medium, dark, medium, light. But you're going to have a piece block in between the two lights. And it's going to be your mediums and your low volume, right? So you want to be able to pull out of your stash of fabric scraps, pieces that are too small for a medium, like are too small for a 4.5 inch block. That's important to pull those out of your stash. So now we're going to do the same thing with this. Now I know some people would debate, that's kind of a low volume and this is a low, you know what? It works. It'll work. You've got enough contrast so that you can see the value, and it will work. And I've got some directional blocks in here, but it's okay. Now, if you had piece blocks that were, let's say, all dark, or, you know, they tend to lend themselves to the medium, then you can do that as well, right? Okay, now this and this. Okay, medium. Let's put this by the mediums. Let's get that all sewn together. Just line it up and sew it. Okay. There we go. Now, 2 lights at the other end. Okay. Now, the trick here is you got to get 17 across. So once you're at 17 across, that now lends itself to, you know, the rows now become shorter, right? So let's get this center one all done. This center row done. You can kind of see where I'm at. Okay, let's... And you can just sew this one in. You know, don't worry about it. There we go. And get the other side of that. Here we go. So as soon as this center row, the one that we're working on right now, is 17 across, that's when you stop adding to this center row. Okay. All right. We'll just keep sewing along here. So this is where we're at so far, right? Now, the next row is going to be a low volume, 2 mediums, and you take your mediums from either side. You take your mediums and then 2 darks. Take your 2 darks, your 2 mediums, there, and a light. So this now is one of your rows, right? The next row that you're going to do, right? So that you want to start from one end to the other, and you've got a duplicate row like that up there. So let's get this all sewn together. And when I came up with this idea, I thought, ooh, there's so many little 4.5-inch size squares that I could put together. That would be a lot of fun. You know, and I thought, you know, that because we're making this for a child, right? So now what I'm going to do, so I know where my centers are, I'm going to sew this, put a pin in here and a pin in here. So when I go to sew this row onto the center, I know that's where the middles are, right? So that'll help me, you know, that'll help me line everything up and get everything in a row, in a square row. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I had fun with my Quilt project cutter yesterday. And it was like, wow, this comes together so much quickly. So quickly. I was just very impressed. There. And I have a die for 4.5 inch. So that was kind of nice. Now, if you have a bunch of those odd shaped, what do they call them, charm packs, where, you know, none of them are 5.5 inches, you know, or it seems like very few of them are 5.5 inches, then you can do this as well, right? So you can use those up in here if you need to. I don't want all of this to fall off, but it might. Okay, so I'm going to take this and sew this and this together. Sew the medium with the last white before I lose the last white. Oh gosh, what am I doing here? Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Ooh, the mediums goes towards the white. Yeah. You know, some of these whites are pretty wild. But I thought, okay, yeah, that'll be great. It'll be perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna lose this. Okay. Now let me get this last piece together. And, okay. So mediums. So the mediums always go up against the dark in the rows. And the lights always go against the mediums. We're going to use up quite a few medium. Mediums are the colors that, you know, there's not enough contrast between them. So they end up, you know, staying in your stash and not doing a lot of good. So we're going to try to unplug them because they also, once they're in your stash, they also get in your scraps. And they're harder to work with than the regular ones. Now, okay. Now, okay. So there's another row, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this over top of each other. And just pull out the pins because I know where I'm at. And I'm going to sew this row together from the center out. Right? From the center out. And I'm going to nest up my seams as I go, right? Because that's important. But the trick to doing these in rounds is very simple because you want like a 1/2 inch overlay. Okay. So let me just get this up and started. Okay. Now I'm going to start kind of off the center. And I've got the longest piece on the bottom. Okay. And I'm sewing out to the center. Out to the center. Out from the center to the edge. But on the edge, I'm going to try and leave like a good inch away from this piece, right? Because we're gonna add more on next week, right? So we don't want to be closing off our seam. So what we're gonna do here, come on, there we go. There. We're just nesting our lines so they stay nice and sharp. And here we go. Now we're going to go right up to about, we're going to leave that much of it open, and we're going to back stitch. So we know where we're at. Okay, so let's get this over here. Get my plug down. So right now the longest row is the center. So what you're going to do then is you're going to go the other direction with the same idea of, okay, from the middle, you start from the middle, and you work your way out, there we go, amen. This is always, I've always dreamt of doing a big one there where we do all the, you know, a big around the world trick block or whatever. But I decided I wanted to do something a little different than the normal or the typical, you know, okay, you sew all your blocks. Well, yeah, you can. Now, if you have medium piece blocks that are all medium, you know, you can add them into this row too, right? So that works as well. Now I'm just gonna get the last one nested. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. Okay, and now we want to stop about here, leaving that much open on the seam. It could be a little bit more. It's okay. There. Now I'm going to I'm going to do the rest of the rows exactly the same. and we're going to work from the center out. I'm just going to show you the layout of the next row, right? The next row, and just from the stuff I've got here. This one will be medium. Hold on, here we go. We got all this stuff everywhere now. Okay, this one will be medium. The next row here will be medium. You start with a medium, then you go through and you get a couple of darks. Darks. Okay, so there's one dark. That's almost a dark, so let's pull another let's go another medium here, just like that. And we want to pull out 2 more mediums because you're following along this path. See, now this one got changed because it was a medium, but because it probably should be, you know, like sometimes you know, mediums become darks, right? So let's get another medium in here. And then we want to do 2 lights. We want to do something bright on one end and something fun like these honey bears on the next. So we're going to sew this row together. Now I'm going to keep sewing these rows together, but you're always going like from light, medium, dark, medium, light. So you go light, medium, dark, medium, and then because you're now folding back on itself, you're going, you know, dark, medium, light, right? Okay, so, and the next row will be a dark. I gotta find a better dark. A dark, and then 2 mediums. This is a medium, and that's a medium. And then you got 2 lights. 2 lights, which are like this, right? So basically you're kind of making it on, it looks like you're going to make it on point, but it's not on point, okay? You're doing it by partial seams, and that's why you're leaving this gap, these gaps here at the end, because we're going to add more on next week. So I'm going to come back when I have all of this sewn together, and you'll see where I am on my trip, on my worldly trip. Okay, so far here's our center of our, you know, worldly trip around the world for Worldly Wednesday. The hardest block you're going to do is that, you know, the girl's best friend are diamonds. Diamonds are a girl's best friend, and that's right in there. Now that's going to be the very center of our quilt. Now you have to, there's going to be, what, 17 across, and forget how many rows down. Oh, 23 down, right? 23 rows of blocks this way and 17 across. That's our quilt. So we've got a really good start on this. No, it's not going to be on point, but it's easier to show you. Now, you got to remember, it goes light, medium, dark, medium, light, pieced. That's your, so the next block will come up here as a piece block, because our first block was a piece block. So now then, from that piece block, it would be like a light, a medium, a dark, a medium, a light. So you can cut ahead. You just don't know what the piece blocks are going to be. So also too, if you have 4.5 unfinished, let's say crumb blocks or something you want to throw into this, right, that are all like, let's say mediums or all reading darks or whatever, you can throw them in. Throw them in, might as well use them up and get them going. I'm going to do some little other piecing to gain some blocks, but I mean, I'm not sure yet. I don't know how my time is going to be, but this was fun. Now, as you can see, sometimes the mediums need a little bit of help, but I'm right beside a really low one. Don't worry about it. Like, this is like a true low volume. Like, it's almost like white. It's got little pink flamingos on it, but this is a medium, right? So, you know, kind of, you know, keep it in mind what it's beside next in the quilt. So this should be a lot of fun. So I do hope you give this one a try with me. I've wanted to do a trip around the world for so long, and it's the perfect time to make a charity quilt. Okay, so I hope life treats you grand and things are going your way. So stay well until we see each other again. Okay, bye! Hello again. We just want to thank you for enjoying our video and, you know, coming along with my husband and my YouTube adventure and quilting. And, you know, sometimes things don't work out as best they should, and sometimes they work out great. We're going, wow, that went well. But it's been an amazing journey, and I'm so glad I could share it with you. share, like, and subscribe these videos. That really helps us out, and it helps us make more charity quilts, okay? So you guys take care until we have a chance to meet again, okay? Bye!